Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Fallout 3. Let's continue. So, we've left this guy waiting, Sticky. Here, we have to get him very far. And so, our first thing that we're going to really check for is really just, can we walk in an area? And is that going to immediately cause us to lose him because we loaded into a new area? And I just loaded the game and we're already seeing glitches. Uh, This disposal area also just has really high radiation. So unless there is something like we can do, this may just be one of those places where all of a sudden we're going to get just a little bit down that direction and realize we're doomed and we'll have to leave it and come back. Uh, which you kind of would have expected that to happen anyways. So it could be salvaged or it could be reported. Can we guarantee that it's one or the other? No, not without me having to think more than I want to. Missiles. Probably that means don't start with anything that ends. Well, multiple. Interesting. So if only one is right, then meetings is definitely outweigh. Hallway. I mean, doesn't it have to be officer at that point? This sounds like this is just going to unlock a lock. What did that, which lock did it just unlock? Way over here? Oops. Probably better. Probably for the better to just take that and not agonize over the fact that I could have potentially had another lock picking section. It's not like we have a ton of extra bobby pins anyways. Yeah, so either this section is going to be our... Man, you can really just miss things. Yeah, either this section is going to be a connecting section to get to other areas. I should have probably safety saved there. Or we just aren't going to be able to go further. And yes, I have a radiation suit that would reduce radiation defense up by another 60%. Oh, that was just a bench you could sit down on. That's interesting. There's this bright, shiny bench and really no use for it. Here you have leaking pipes and a different kind of toilet, a different kind of environment in general. Seems weird. I don't even know why my gun went away there. Is it really ever worth it to take the bottle cap mine? That's the question. Yeah, I still feel like these ham radios may straight up call in the Brotherhood of Steel or something. Or, like, raiders should be using the ham radios and we should find out that they've been in communication throughout the entire world. And then they would feel more like a faction instead of just this separate area. Alright. We have a scavenger.
Oh, hey there. Do you need something?
A robot stuck in a diagnosis loop. Curious. Well, we have this repair thing.
Hey, you really know robots, huh? Great to meet another mechanic. I stumbled across this model a while ago. I just can't seem to fix it.
It's probably just a problem with the subroutine somewhere in the sweat.
Great. Just between us mechanics, try some mentats before you tackle that robot. They really clear your head.
I don't need that.
I know they're addictive, but hey, that's just the sort of risk professionals like us take, right? Here, I've got a few.
So he gives me
You're
some
not inside a
Mentos.
house robot. Why?
Let's see. Rewire the diagnostic systems.
Who do you think you are?
Alright.
Paperwork on residence now 200.
Okay. Let's not play loosey-goosey here and take a rad X. Put our rad resistance by 80%. Alright.
Hey, what happened with the robot? Thanks. Nice to meet a fellow mechanic out here in the wasteland. Here's your payment.
So you just have like this side quest in which if your repair is high enough,
Thanks
you
for your
can
help, friend.
accomplish
I
things.
don't know what Let me take a look.
Let's see if he can repair a ghoul mask for us.
Everything.
Would he have any kind of radiation outfit though? It doesn't really feel like he would. No, he doesn't. Meanwhile, we'll sell things we're sitting on. Should I be holding on to the scope to Magnum? I think so. Let's sell some drugs. That's easy enough to get rid of. So dirty water. So that. We'll want to keep the rat away.
A pleasure doing business
Didn't
with you.
quite do the best trading
Yeah,
there,
see
but
you.
whatever. Alright, so I am here. We went in there. Radiation seems to be staying fairly consistently at 1. And I would assume that the bar above us would go up as it goes higher. So, I'm wondering if this just straight up leads to the wasteland. It looks like it is. Oh, and I only have like 17 rads. Yeah. So, this isn't anything. It's just a place to kind of show, hey, you might run into radiation at certain points. To stay away from these red barrels. There probably should be more red barrels in general. It's actually a little shocking that there aren't exploding red barrels that would just irradiate radiation a lot more than the exploding cars irradiate radiation. Wouldn't that be very video gamey? Let's see. Yeah. There's no way I could put a whole clip into this. I was playing a game once and I saw this old-fashioned white star, and I thought that was the symbol of like Russia or China. Like, the single solo white star is not something you tend to really pay attention to.
You want to go to Big Town? Of course you do.
Yeah.
Come on, let's hurry up and get to Big Town.
I told him to wait.
All right, yeah! Big Town, here we come.
Like, this guy wants us to go to Big Town, but Big Town is all the way over here. So we started at Little Lamplight. We kind of went too south to Fort Bannister, ran into a lot of conflicts. He is definitely very easy as a kid to kill. And we can see there's a scavenger shooting something and getting shot at by some kind of green goo, which was a Mr. Gusty. I'm just hitting the ground.
Help me!
Hmm.
Glad that's over.
And the scavenger, I assume, was either the guy we just did business with, looking at everything he's got. I mean, we might as well just take everything off of him. We basically just robbed him blind. And we can take this Mr. Handy's. Like, that's not really my fault, though. I helped this guy, and then the systems, which are frankly just bad systems, should have protected him. Quite simply by just making him immortal. Like, anything that is outside of 20 paces should just be considered immortal, shouldn't die randomly. I shouldn't be able to accidentally run into... I may not be able to hit this guy through the tree. Nope, got him. Should probably save, though. We're going to have to do a lot of safety saves.
Help me! I've got your back.
Yeah. It doesn't benefit the game one bit for me to potentially have a playthrough where I'm off playing the game the way I want to, and because of some random roll of the dice or some unforeseen consequence to an action I've taken hours previous, I then walk into a building and find out that that building is completely devoid of life because one faction of enemies decided to attack another faction of enemies. I do like the idea of there being life, but frankly, at this point, those cows should not be killable by anybody but me. Like, they should just have a special line of code that's like, can it be aggroed? Can it be turned aggressive? And if I'm not standing next to it, it should just always be no. If it's not in the sphere of influence of me, then these vicious dogs, for instance, should live completely peacefully with the Brahmin. We have another power station. We are doing some of the DLC. Wow, that really shouldn't have not let me walked up there. We're doing some of the DLC right now, but I'm fine with that. He just opened the gate. And I assume he'll just come in here. So if we wanted to put him somewhere safe, we could probably leave him. Nuka-Cola Quantum, first aid, get some more stuff. I feel like I'm probably gonna fairly quickly become overburdened. It definitely feels like there's enough junk here to craft everything. Let's just try this. Not yet. Tin can, wrench, surgical tubing, crutch, medical brace. Yeah. What else would be in this facility? It kind of feels like there might be a secret passage under there, but not so much. Here we have another book. Another bobby pin, food, sugar bombs, paint gun. We have a safe. We can probably try and lockpick first. Notice how the lockpicks are also getting smaller, we've hit another section. I'll just take all that. Like we've hit another section where it definitely feels like a different team. Encountering. So then we should do recuperating. To see it, to check the ing was the letters that lined up in the right place. These are all Robco terminals. Feels like there should be different computers. For as many different 3D models in which things exist, it would make a lot of sense for different computers to exist that were painted different colors for different actions. Like turret computers should potentially be painted green with military on them. Robot computers maybe blue. Safe computers painted maybe black to match the other things. Can we make anything here at all? No. Yeah. It is just a whole collection of garbage. So, let's save ourselves some frustration and put all of this away. Arguably, there's probably more I could put away, but I'll leave it at that for the moment. Let's see. Read some books. Oops. Drank some dirty water, which gave me +4 rads for that 1 second. Yeah. Nothing really here. What we would be looking for is if there's a radio station here, but there isn't. So yeah, there's a slight separation there as to radio stations and we have a Brotherhood outcast who's using a laser to shoot at things, but
Look out!
looks like that whole place is going to blow up. And yeah, you really would have to just pay very good attention. Have a robo-brain. You would really just have to pay very good attention to see those explosions. And ever get like a nice visual there.
Which do you like better, the side
Over
of the
here.
beam or the lake?
And we are just sticking our nose into somebody else's business here.
Hello.
You can't talk to the robo-brain people. Just more of these outcast stations. Nuka-Cola Quantums. Teddy bears. First aid kits. We may very well be screwing over other people in this world by emptying out all the first aid kits. because we are definitely playing this more like a video game than you would in the real world, where you would potentially not just try and hoard every single item in the entire planet. Although there is very much a logical reason to hoard. It's not a bad strategy. Like, you just never know what's going to happen in a emergency situation like a nuclear apocalypse. So one more stim pack, one more healing item quite literally could be the difference between life and death. Make sure this guy is still following me. I guess that probably doesn't make you much different than Tenpenny, though. Let's see, I believe here we have gone back to Arafu, so I suppose if you had just followed the roads, you might have run into a lot more content in this game, instead of following just the more linear paths that you run into by doing quests. Get this vicious dog and then aim at this guy, but I don't think actually aiming at that guy even changes the direction that you're pointing when you come out of vats.
Good riddance.
I suppose there is just slightly more of these guys in these areas. So this was Kailyn's bed and breakfast at some point. Does that really need to be a fast travel location? Where is it? So there were more raiders, so it probably would have been a smart move to come here. And you can see he's pointing a gun, but I don't think he has any bullets. I don't think I actually gave him any bullets. And this raider, accuracy is just so low. And I wouldn't be getting the stranger visits anywhere as often if it weren't for the fact that my health is just at the absolute, I mean, not my health, but my luck is at the absolute maximum it can be. I'm really shocked at how many female enemies are in this game. I really was just totally wrong about that. Maybe when I first played this game, I played as a male character, and that drastically reduced the number of female characters. But without basically starting over, making a new save file, I wouldn't be able to really test that. But yeah, it could also have been that there was some DLC change or something around there that balanced it out more. In a lot of ways, I make... Yeah, well, we can see his health. I need to give him some stim packs. Like, this really goes to show where the whole running and gunning does not
I
work.
can't wait to get to Big Town.
Alright.
Oh, wow.
Alright, so I'm gonna give him some stim packs. He really only should need... Ooh, it's not even worth doing that, is it? There you go. Take a purified water instead. And 32 cal. Yeah, this isn't gonna work either. Like, okay. Guess we could do that. Give him about 60 bullets. Take back the purified water. And give him a stim pack. Turns out that the left trigger does go in jumps. So
Come on, let's hurry up and get to Big Town.
so if I just leave him alone, will his health slowly fill? Or maybe we just don't have a choice. Maybe it is simply just a case of this is his remaining escort mission life bar, and we're gonna have to be really careful. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to have jumped over this bridge, so we were gonna have to deal with this second group of raiders. And I kind of feel like I want to be fairly flippant now at this point, where I am gonna just not look quite as hard for items. Yes, I could get some more books, but there isn't too much more of that either. Before I would just have 100 pure 100 stats on everything. So this should be Big Town. Kind of ridiculous that I would have missed this, but it really does go to show that there's frankly too many hills and rocks in this game which contradict the idea of standing in a place and seeing some interesting place to go and investigate. Skyrim does this a little bit better, but not by much, by just having trees block your vision and make fairly narrow corridors in which you walk around. But this, I guess, is supposed to be Big Town. But even
We're almost there.
Skyrim really doesn't have that same issue. Doesn't really address that issue as well as I would like them to. I would much prefer to just spin around and have seen Big Town and go, oh, there's an interesting place to investigate. Let's go there and check it out. And maybe even been able to fast travel to Big Town if I'd already visited the location with this guy in tow.
Keep an eye on the north.
Okay. Seems like we are probably gonna run into a scripted thing. Here's a letter from Vault Tech. Let's read that. Not selected to be a Vault member. So he's running ahead of me. I better not let him do that. That's pretty dark. Clearly he's been programmed to go this direction.
Hey, who are you? Right. What do you want?
Let's see.
Well, you can never be too careful. Be warned, it's not safe here. Super mutants have attacked recently and carried off some of our friends. Come in, just don't cause any trouble, okay?
I mean, it's pretty much an exact mirror to what happened at Little Lamplighter. Big trouble in Big Town.
Oh, another soul to add to my circle of darkness.
But Bitter Cup.
Oh, hi there. I'm Bittercup. Finally, someone who doesn't judge me. You know, the people here are just so quick to assume that they know everything about you. I mean, like, just because I'm different doesn't mean that I'm some sort of freak, you know? It's like, hello, this world sucks.
This
No one
definitely
gets that.
feels
They're all like, blah, 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 blah.
too
What's wrong with that girl?
comedic for the rest of this game. Let's go with this one.
God, it's so nice to have someone who understands. I mean, sure, when I left Little Lamplight, I was happy to be out of there. I was dating Pappy then, you know. I got here and he was like, Big Town will be safe. But it wasn't. This place is always under attack. But I don't date liars. So I dumped his ass and got with Flash. But that didn't last very long. Me and Time Bomb were a thing for a while, too.
So pretty much what has happened here is they've jumped from the Little Lamplighter young kids archetype to now showing us what I assume would be teenagers, 16, 17, 18-year-old body types and archetypes. And so Big Town is just going to be full of a bunch of teenagers, which it's kind of interesting to have that in your world and do some world building on that, but it would make a lot more sense for there just to be teenagers in general in all the cities instead of them all being in one place.
Ever wonder what it would be like to slit your wrist? I watched someone die once. So I'm an expert on death. And so are many of my friends now. Now that mutants took them. Unless someone can figure out how to rescue them.
Let's see. Wow, you need therapy.
The mutants took them north. To some old police station or something. Let's talk about something else.
Okay. Let's see.
Rescue whoever the hell you like. But they aren't my friends. I don't need friends. Though I'm sure someone will pay you if you succeed.
So we would need to go up to the police station, which is, we've already been there.
Don't you judge me. It's not my fault that the only guys in this town are liars and jerks. Oh, you can't break up with me. We're all going to die soon. Well, duh. Why do you think I'm breaking up with you? When I die, the last thing I want to worry about in my afterlife is breaking up with my once alive boyfriend. Priorities.
Okay.
The super mutants took Red along with the others. She was the only person that really ever listened to me. Don't tell Sticky, though. He's liable to kill himself if he knew Reb was gone. And that would conflict with my own suicide plans. I wander around town to find chalk and makeup sometimes. Not like there's any place to buy stuff.
Okay.
I wish it were. When I'm gone, I'll be sure to haunt this place.
This is funny because Bittercup really should have been a character we ran into a lot earlier.
Oh yeah? What is it? Not that I care what you think.
Let's see.
That's why I never go out during the day. The moon has such a better shine to it than the sun. You're
This is
not
an odd.
seeing anyone right now, are you?
Interesting. So, as a female character, wearing a ghoul mask.
Oh, well, I need to get going. But come back and visit me sometime, okay?
Kind of creepy too, though, that you're going to introduce this character. Look at her height scale, like standing even right next to her. They've scaled her down. She is supposed to be young, or whereas this guy, we are pretty much the same height as.
They're out there. I can feel it.
I don't know why all of a sudden we get these dialogues that we would be.
There isn't anything here that hasn't been destroyed or dragged away. You're better off scavenging the dead out in the wasteland.
Let's see. How did you people get here?
Sometimes you'll see small, tired dots on the horizon instead of angry, anxious ones. Those are settlers who come here from lamplight. The poor fools. There was a super mutant attack recently, and where there's one big ugly, there are 10 more just waiting to grab you by the throat. Then the slavers will come and pick off what's left of your carcass and drag any survivors to Paradise Falls. Skulk up toward Germantown near the police station. They always come from that direction.
We already
Nearby,
know where
slavers move quick and
Paradise
come from all
Falls is.
directions. Someone else might know where they nest.
Interesting. I can't get out of this conversation.
There is
Interesting little glitch there.
There's nothing here but the stench of death and the threat of attack looming over every sunset. Two very angry types of movements. Slow, lumbering, powerful movements, and jerky, erratic, excitable movements, both coming for the kill. Bye.
So yeah, doesn't feel like there's much here. It kind of feels like Bittercup is sneaking around to just kill some people. Not a lot to Big Town. There's a clubhouse we could go into.
Remember to keep an eye on the north.
There's a town hall. They're saying keep an eye on the north. As, I guess, the new saying. Big Town Red's Clinic. So this would be Red's place. And that goes to a basement. And in the basement is literally nothing. So why have a load section there? Why not just have that be connected? I guess the desire to Alright, what is our medicine at this point? I think our medicine could do better. Let's see. Start by looking at our stats. As far as skills and medicine, we're at 92. We also have an item here that would get us up to 94. I think we will safety save. Don't even need to do that. Perform the operation.
What's the big idea?
So there's Time Bomb.
Damn. What happened?
It feels like you should be able to do this a lot more. That would certainly make your medicine skill a lot more useful, as if you just were constantly finding injured people on the road and healing them with your medicine skill, or at least trying. And certainly that would fix the problem of, say, that settler or scavenger running into a fight with another group of enemies, is that instead of them dying, perhaps you just programming them in to be mortally wounded but not actually capable of dying until you walk up to them and potentially heal them, and then can do business and talk to them and get quests from them. That makes a better sense and tells a better story than what Skyrim sometimes did, where you would find a dead body and on them would be a note, and you'd read the note, and then that would move the story along for the next part of the quest.
Wow. You saved my life. Thanks. You're a good person, you know that?
Speech. 100%.
Oh, yeah, sure. I understand. Here.
5
that's all I
XP
have.
for a speech check. Let's see.
We did? Wow. That's news to me. How long was I unconscious again? She didn't, do anything to me while I was out. Did she? That might explain those weird dreams. Red should have been here, but she probably got dragged off by the mutants. Damn it. Damn it!
Yeah, and it's a little weird
I remember
that
screaming and gunfire.
you would have the
One of those
teenagers
big
cussing
hulking things shot at me.
a little bit
That's
more,
all I can think of.
considering how many adults don't cuss in this game.
Whoa, that was a long time ago. I'm not sure when, but everyone who grows up in lamplight ends up here. Not too many of us left. Watch yourself out there.
So Red's clinic supply key would be needed to get into that. And doesn't really look like there's anything else. This is funny, you see a toilet paper holder, and then we don't see that in a lot of other places. Like, you would kind of assume you would use that model a lot more, but I could also see really good reasons why you wouldn't.
Those assholes in Lamplight said that this place was great. Welcome to Big Town. Not that there's much of a town left. Those... Oh, Little Lamplight is where most of us came from. Then we got old and we had to leave. Those were the rules. No one told us it would be like this. We never have fun anymore.
Okay,
I'm
so let's
tired of being frightened all the time.
stop talking to random people. I do want to move the story around how many people Bitter Cup has dated, but otherwise I don't feel need to actually talk to people. And here we can hear more of these people.
Those assholes in Lamplight said that this place was great. A visitor? Who'd want to visit this hellhole? I'll bet you're here to rape and pillage us, aren't you? Aren't you? Not that it matters. We're all super mutant snacks anyway.
What's funny here is it should be a case that
I told her things would be safe here. How was I supposed to know all those stories were bunk? Then she dumped me, called me a liar. I was lied to myself, all right. Well, that didn't matter to
like,
her. Then she started
these
dating
kind of
Flash and got all
conversations
spooky.
should be these kind of conversations should be forced on you, and he should just start talking to you if there's going to be an important line of dialogue. And this character clearly is a better character to have the generic conversations about, I'm looking for Red, where are the super mutants, do you have any traders, this place looks like a ghost town. All of those should have been had with one character instead of being options, just copy and pasted.
Yeah, I can do it.
His repair skill is at like 13, so he's not really that good. That being said, the ghoul mask seems like the only thing that really is in need of some repair. It kind of feels like the repair system in this game is a little wonky in that if you have something fairly nicely repaired,
You saved my life.
then
Thank you.
it'll last a very long time before it needs even a little bit of repair. But if you only repair it a little, you're going to end up having to
Come on. Pay more attention to what you're doing.
talk to Flash.
Hey, don't get any bright ideas about trying anything. We
His-
may not look it. But
His
every
face
one of us
model
is a
looks
trained killer.
very much like the kids
who am
in
I
the
kidding?
vault.
Look, we're in trouble here. If you want to help, great. If not, just please don't kill anyone while you're here.
Let's see.
Well,
Yeah,
we've
we
got
have
super
different
mutants out that way
lines
and
of
slavers up that way.
dialogues.
Take your pick. They both come in here, drag off as many as
I've
they
already
can
killed all
carry,
the
and
slavers,
shoot whoever puts up a fight.
I think.
The best we can ever hope for is that they get here at the same time and fight over who gets to kill us.
Let's see.
There aren't many of us left. There's me and Pappy. Red runs the clinic, but she's been taken by the mutant. Kimba does what she can. And there's Bittercup. She's just about as useless as a human being can be. Time Bomb was hurt in the last raid, so he's out. That's about it. The mutants and slavers have taken everyone else. Just us and a couple of guns are all that's left. And where are we going to go? Megaton won't have us. Lamplight won't take us back. And
Why
River
will
City's too
Megaton
far.
not take him?
Besides, the bunch of us can't even hold this town. Can you imagine us schlepping across the wasteland?
Well, I guess there was no will.
Yeah. You're a scary wastelander. Look, you'll either kill us or you won't. Most of us have already accepted death, so you won't get much of a reaction with your threats.
Yeah, we really didn't
At
get
least we
a
won't be
lot of
slaves if you shoot us
backstory
all.
as to how Megaton.
Gee, thanks. Are we done here? Oh man, don't even go there. You'd think a girl like
You
that
would
would be more,
kind of-
you know, adventurous. But that's a dry well, my friend. All she does is talk about how she hates everyone else or how dark her clothing is. A guy can only take so much of that before he snaps. Poor Pappy got the worst of it. I swear, he's gotten even more depressed since she dumped him for me. As if being here wasn't bad enough.
Yep.
Keep an eye
I think
out
it
for
would make a
muties.
lot of sense for everybody to go to Megaton. Just the more people in the same spot to fight against super mutants, you'd think that you could try to unify most people. But I guess the food is scarce, and that's the problem. The water and food is very, very scarce, and taking on more mouths to feed just seems like something that they can't really afford to do.
But only together. Together.
Where's
we
Red?
hope to reach our full potential.
All I really want is bobby pins at this point. I still have to search everything looking for bobby pins. I also want bobbleheads, of course, and books. We're not quite to the point where it makes sense to not pick up a book.
Hey, be more careful.
I think it's kind of ridiculous that they're yelling at me for kicking some tin can on the ground. That definitely feels like it's just extra code that is unnecessary. Here you have a sentry bot that's not got anything on it. So it feels like you should be able to fix up that sentry bot and have it work for the city, protect the city, but No such luck. Okay. So this gives us a new quest to do, because we were getting very desperately close to not having any quests. Rescue big town captives from the super mutants will be our next goal. So general appearance. Another letter from Vault Tech. I think just telling people that they weren't accepted to go into the vault. But it could be a case that these letters of Vault Tech are telling you that there's a specific vault somewhere to look out for. There, you would, looking at this playthrough, you would be probably shocked to know that there's at least 2 other vaults on in this map. You'd almost assume that this game was designed around the idea and the conceit that every game you walk out of one vault and there's only one vault for the entire map. But that's not what Fallout 1 was by any means, because the very first quest you get in Fallout 1 is to run to another vault and talk to the people there. I'm looking at the doors to see if any of these buildings are not boarded up. That's the last thing I want to check, and then we'll just fast travel to Germantown, which we didn't, I think, fully kill everything and all the super mutants in Germantown. I think we just kind of walked near that area and decided to leave it alone because we didn't have a quest to go there. That would be my guess, certainly, since if we had freed any captured characters like Red in Germantown, almost certainly we would have run into this. Notice that we're hearing a lot of crickets. A lot of crickets going right now. That doesn't quite make the most amount of sense. No sewer entrance to anything there. Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, ideally we would just go ahead and fast travel to the police headquarters. If we were to look around here and spin around in a circle, is there any not filled in triangles on the radar in the lower left hand corner? No, there isn't. So yeah, Germantown, here we are. We had, I think, already probably read all of these logs, so I imagine if we pretend to read all these logs again, we probably aren't going to find anything out new. Very possibly these are logs of the police, not the super mutants. Where are you? When I was last here, I was fairly lower in levels, so I wouldn't be fairly surprising if I was a little bit scared to run around and look in this area. Let's see if we look at the local map, we can kind of see. Yeah, we kind of walked in that general direction, if I recall. Not that way, but that way. And it definitely just feels like there might be a couple entrances to this police station, and really not a lot of anything else. We'll take the high ground and see what we can do. Loudspeakers. Subterranean. Recuperating. Resurrection. Try that again. Construction. That means anything TION is wrong. Seriously, if it's not anything ING and nothing TION, is it partnerships? Nope. You can get some XP from that. We're getting 5 XP for disarming these things and still. Organization means nothing. TION or even ION. Subterranean. Nothing ING. How can this be the case? It can't be ING. It can't be ION. So it can't be this or this. So it's got to be spokesperson, I guess. And that gave us 60 XP. Corrupt data. And then we have here a police report. It had a Canadian flag. And it was stolen. And so they're at one point the Union did take over Canada, and I guess maybe that war happened even before the bombs dropped in the Chinese war happened. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I don't see the point of that being locked behind a very hard computer unless they're just intentionally going to give me a bunch of very hard computers as a way of letting me get more XP, which that's certainly a difficult way to give me more XP. Yeah. Like if the United States had taken over China, taken over Canada, that might have just been the aggressive imperial action that China could have used to then then attack America. But I also suspect that a lot of countries would be upset with America if they took over Canada. You'd kind of think that the UK would have a little bit more to be upset about that, since Canada still is all about the Queen and the United Kingdom. So other members of the UK, like Australia and Scotland, England, Britain, however all of that really breaks down, you'd think that they would become an allied force. And that would be an interesting twist if you were going to do a reboot of this series, is to have some scenes happen in the past and reveal that no, it wasn't just that China dropped bombs on America and attacked them in some kind of great nuclear war. It was that the United States was so incredibly imperial and aggressive that they unified the entire world against them. And that the United States was so jingoistic that they lost any support. Definitely feels like this would be the place, if there ever is going to be a place, where you would learn how the super mutants create super mutants. Definitely looks like there's some real science going on here, and that they could be turning humans into super mutants. Password for lockdown computer. We now have that, but we don't have to read it, I guess. Credits. So do we have anything that doesn't start with S? Carried. Hazard. I'm wondering if this is going to be that the entire top floor here is just kind of locked down, and all the humans that have been kidnapped are trapped in a different area. Here you have a meeting room, which is an interesting design. You'd think that this kind of design would turn around and be used in a lot more places. But yeah, you constantly are running into that not being the case. So yeah, there's all these kinds of gore bags. They are all doing these kind of mutilation surgeries on bodies. It would be kind of interesting if it turned out that super mutants were actually using organs from their victims to repair their own bodies and build themselves up, and that originally super mutants were just regular humans with a high science ability, and perhaps just a slight mutation to prevent organ rejection. Of course, in this sci-fi story. Maybe organ rejection isn't so much a thing. And this, I guess, would be the 911 terminals. I don't know why you'd want to read this. Sure. Why not? Let's make an annoying sound. Yeah, I don't know why you would have these lines, these stories written. Like, this clearly is gonna not give you a hint towards anything. Or a location of any kind of place to search. I really regret sounding the alarm now. There you have... Well, thank goodness it went off. That seemed to do nothing as far as calling super mutants also. Which I would have expected that to do more. Wow, that visually just popped completely out. We've seen that happen several times. And I can hear cockroaches crawling, but having a hard time finding them. Super Mutant Overlord. It's gonna be one of these situations where we just sit here and trade clip for clip because my damage reduction is too high and his damage reduction is too high. That still only gives you 25 XP. You do have enough damage where it makes sense to take a stim pack or two. I've never found anything really of value behind these toilet stalls. Even there, where we did find a gun, really is nothing. We still have a lot of audio clipping and changing based on walking within a very narrow sphere of influence. Silence here, go here, you get that low rumbling all of a sudden. By the way, shooting nose is not doing anything as far as our XP. Important to remember that. We're literally just wasting our... That sounds like a human. Construction is 2. So it's probably not ION. Conspirators is 1. Recuperating. Which means it's probably transcribing, but I don't know, so we'll have to check again. Purification. Announcement. Recuperating. Accompanying. Could be overwhelming, it could be transcribing. And if we lock this out, then Like, this one doesn't seem to be changing, so this probably is the one that we already have the code for. Because... yeah, no, it was changing. There's more data corruption. You kind of expect there to be more consistent data corruption. Yeah, I should do that way more often. Let's just run and grab the mine instead of wasting. So, cherry bombs, bullets, a silenced pistol, a gun, a whole bunch of bullets. Kind of in this universe, this is not even really contraband. Like, seems like this is somewhat of a gun-loving universe, so maybe ordinary citizens are just not allowed to have guns, but lots of people seem to have been more than welcome to them. Yeah, there's nothing there special, though. No bobblehead, no book. No Canadian flag. Yeah, we have some prison cells, and it wouldn't have made a lot of sense to see more of those. 30 XP to open this for I don't think any reason. It's not like that leads to anything. This one's not even locked. There's a bigger like holding room. This one's not locked. Cherry bomb in the toilet. They haven't overused that gag enough for that to be a problem. Again, if the game gave you specific reasons where you had to sleep, it would kind of make more sense for all of these beds to exist. But since you really never do have to sleep, it seems silly. And then here you have jet in the toilet and a leather belt. So a lot of references. Flying bananas can't talk. Interesting. Note. Yeah. Feels like there's just a ton of references to drugs for not really a good reason. Vicious Koi is the lockdown.
How'd you get in here?
And here we have red. Yeah.
Quick! Unlock the door!
Okay. Sure. For the XP. While we're over here. We couldn't hack that because we already had the code. Probably couldn't have hacked it even if we hadn't picked up the code. No, I mean, we probably could have hacked it if we hadn't picked up the code. We probably couldn't have hacked it.
You're rescuing me? Thanks. I thought we were goners for sure. I think the others are dead. Or worse.
So here we have red that's that's another dark-skinned character, but they still seem to be fairly rare in the game. I'd say more than that, though. Red also feels like she should be a more important character.
That's right. His birthday was recently. Did he make it to Big Town already? Oh, I can't wait to see him.
Let's see. So now we've got to...
Everyone else is dead. We're taken away to who knows where. Well, except maybe for Shorty. They dragged him off downstairs to the kitchen a while ago. But no one comes back from the kitchen.
Let's see. Rescue Shorty.
I'm not waiting around for some super mutant to lock me up again. There's the back door somewhere around here. If you're not back soon, I'm leaving without you. If I'm not here when you come back, meet me at Big Town.
Interesting. Let's talk to her
We can
again.
talk back at Big Town. I'll take whatever you've got at this point.
Might as well give her a gun. She has specific outfits too. There you go. Take... Well, not 200. I guess that would be too much, but 60 is probably fine as far as bullets.
Well, all right. Don't get us killed, okay?
Okay. So everything map-wise looks like we're going to the kitchen, which I assume is this way. Who's shooting at us? Like I... Quest is optional, rescue Shorty. And yet... I don't know where the kitchen is. And these people are shooting at me. Just... There he is. At least Red is actually shooting at people. Yeah, we came in through the top floor. And there's not like another door, is there? Let's go back in here and assume she follows. So if there was a kitchen that we missed, it must be down this way. So I did miss a section. It's in the basement. Yeah, even a rad roach potentially would be enough to kill Red, so we want to be fairly careful here.
There's plenty of body parts laying around. Why don't you eat those instead?
We can hear
I hope you choke on
Shorty.
Who are you calling little? Oh God. Kill me quickly, I beg you. There you are! Rydo!
I feel like Shorty's gonna be dead. shooting this guy in the back. Okay. So we need to kind of rush here. If that's the case. Once you start hearing them talk,
More where that came from.
this guy has a lot of health on him. Of course, having him just beat on me is fine. He wasn't an overlord or anything. He was just a standard super mutant according to the game.
Come on. Thanks. Who are you? Never mind, I don't care right now. Let's go get Red and get out of here. You
So
lead,
basically they
I'll
put this
follow.
here.
Let's go. Move it.
It's fine, let's go.
All right. If you say so, boss. But if we get to Big Town and she isn't there, I'll kill you.
Let's see.
Hell yeah. Lay it on me.
So, weapons. Give him just a 10mm. And ammo. We don't have a lot of 10mm ammo to give him. But think about 100's fine.
Right. Let's go.
So in this case now we have 2 people following us. Which this is an interesting experiment certainly. And you would kind of expect that there would be maybe something different in the refrigerators for these guys, but not really. And this is, I guess, supposed to look like an oven, and that they're maybe confusing Little Red Riding Hood with Hansel and Gretel. And so I've just
Glad to see you're alive.
potentially
Shorty.
saved Hansel and Gretel.
Me too. Now let's get the hell out of here.
I think the danger here would be to fast travel and then find out that it didn't work and it killed the 2 characters. I'm just using VATS here to make sure I see all the enemies. Yeah, I don't think there's any more. And basically I triggered him getting beaten to death because he was shooting his mouth off. By standing in the corner and doing that. And that's kind of, and hearing them talk. That's kind of a great example of, even if you were to have all other characters effectively immortal until you got within 20 paces of them, or not aggro on each other until you're like 20 paces with all of them, there is also an argument that it should still exclude walls. So me hearing something on the other side of the wall should not trigger danger. Let's jump up here. And so you've basically got another gore bag and just raiders being tortured here and cannibalized on in this shooting gallery section. I'm just trying really hard not to waste a bunch of time by saving things. There's a fat man, so I guess that was a nice haul. But that's kind of all we got. You know, you would think a police station might have considerably more to offer than a few very simplistic and normal looking guns. More of a named gun. Now would really be the time to potentially have copies and duplicates of named weapons show up. And I'll just walk down this general direction. See if we can find a way through all of this. This is the first place we've been that's really respawned to any enemies also. And I can't help but think that that is only because of us having a quest. Which means maybe the right way to play these games is to have visited just every single location first, and then come back to it once there is an actual quest telling you you should visit it. We should make sure these two guys are following us. Much like Sticky, we've got another escort quest here. The only difference now is that his companions are seemingly a little bit more capable as far as firing guns and actually surviving, which would kind of make sense.
Help me.
Come on, Hal. Which direction do you push to aim at the head? Apparently it was left, 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 left. Yeah, I've mostly been walking just in straight lines instead of following the road. But in this case, I don't know if either one really matters too much. I seriously doubt from this point to this point, which will take way longer to walk than it really should, that we'll run into anything. I don't know what that sound was. We'd already seen that church. I think we'd already seen that. I think we'd already seen that. Yep. We could do a spin 360 to look if there's any not filled in triangles, but I think I'll probably just take the map perk to fill in every location. I think it will just be easier to do that. What's really missing here, particularly at like level 30, see, this definitely feels like this is a fairly cinematic like this is a fairly cinematic section here that they really want you to enjoy and see. Seeing this whole thing. Who are these guys fighting with? Raiders. I'm shooting the hunting rifle. And since I can't really zoom in, I'm not sure it's really worth the effort to potentially go and check out the guy and his location. Yeah. I'd really have to question whether it's worth it to go check out that area, because I'd have to walk back this way, then basically jump over here, see if we can find this guy finally, who's hiding in a pretty good place, just trying to avoid taking damage. Then we have more of these red lean-tos. Ton of pre-war money, although it does kind of feel like at this point pre-war money means nothing. There is a ton of stuff on the shelf, but none of it is important. I can't help but feel like the odds of you forcing a lock goes up the fewer bobby pins you have. Baseball bat, but not the baseball mound. Scrap metal's worth it. Mentats would have been worth it, but I'm not gonna try that again. Alright, so slight distractions. Hopefully we can just walk under the bridge here. As much as we can walk over the bridge. And hopefully that small amount of radiation doesn't cause those two people to die. Apparently they've been swimming. Every time it does one of these shot for shot, well, I wouldn't call it shot for shot, I'd call it, every time it does a camera angle that shows my face, I am comedically reminded that I'm wearing the ghoul mask still. And I think we're at Big Town. Much shorter escort mission this time, which deservedly so. Like there really is no reason to have the player escort people, even if they are going to potentially shoot at enemies for you. And giving them bullets and giving them guns really just does not matter to me at all. And like all the other quests, it's pretty short.
Our heroine returns.
What? Don't I count for something? She rescued me, at least.
I'm glad to be safely back home.
You are planning on giving me a reward for rescuing you, right?
Right, of course. Rescuing me was a job to you, and you're a real professional. Well, here you go. I wish I had more I could give you.
If she just gives me caps, that's kind of ridiculous. XP?
Well, I guess you can have this. It's the money I was saving to buy medicine for the town's people. I know you've already risked your life once already, but I heard the mutants talking about another attack. They'll probably be here soon.
300 XP, lost karma. Here, take the money back. I don't want medicine.
Thank you.
Get the karma back. I can help you defend yourselves.
Really? That's great. What do you have in mind?
I could set up a minefield to keep the super mutants from just strolling in. Should have some robot defenders. I can show you what to do with them. If you can arm yourselves, I'll teach you how to shoot. Seems like we could do all of them. Let's go with science.
Great. Let's head over to the junkyard. There's some old robots in there. Maybe you can fix them up and we'll watch to see how it's done.
Yeah, and so we're basically going to just teach all of this.
The robots are over in the junkyard, in case you're wondering.
Alright, so everybody come and learn a lesson.
At least we made it another day, right?
So we're back to school. Yeah, but they walk too slow, so let's just do it. Repair the robot. Let's see if we can also do the explosives.
Wow. I can't believe that you were able to help Time Bomb. In here, I was sure that you were ready to just let him die. I guess I had you wrong. He still can't fight. But if we survive for a bit longer, he should be back into it soon enough. Look, you're a better doc than me. That's pretty obvious. But if you need healing, I'll do it for you, no charge.
Let's see. History of the place we kind of want to know. And dating.
Oh, that. I know all about that nonsense. Flash isn't the smartest cookie in the jar, but he deserved better than Bittercup. She wouldn't be so bad if she just faced reality instead of doing that whole spooky girl routine.
Maybe we should talk to her about that.
Big Town? A fairy tale, really. The lamplighters who turn 16 aren't allowed to stay in the caves, but they have to go somewhere.
Yeah, so
To
16.
encourage people to leave, they invented Big Town, the great grown-up place that you got to go to when you became an adult. I think you can see how true those stories were. Oh, just grand, can't you tell? I used to pay off or trick the slavers into leaving us alone. Those mutants are the
We don't even have a quest here to kill the slavers.
As long as you've
Since
still
I've
got
already
the ass
killed
to
them.
sit down. Sure can. And
100 caps means nothing
careful.
to me.
Remember to keep an eye
So
on the north.
we've talked to everybody. Let's talk to Bittercup.
All the time.
Feels like you should be able to do multiple things, though. Bittercup, though, as her character design, clearly was somebody's pet project. They really tried hard here to make this character stand out.
Thanks for helping us.
And we're gonna tell her.
I just hope we can survive another attack. Probably won't.
Okay.
If the mutants get you, come back and haunt me.
So apparently I can't do any other things.
Wastelander from Germantown.
Quest-wise,
How's life treating you?
the quest is pretty much done.
Yeah. Don't get yourself hurt. I have enough red on my...
So
What do you want?
this is kind of
We're all
a
gonna
city, but it doesn't seem
I
like...
hate it here. Yeah! I made it to Big Town. Big Town! Hooray! Now I just need to find Red.
Things are looking good here, bud. You've seen those super mutants and their appetite? From the look of things, I'd say a super mutant sat down in a ditch one day. I dragged myself here from lamplight.
Try and
I didn't
exhaust all the
believe
dialogue.
stories. A few dozen
Yeah, I just don't
If
think
those
there's
mutants
another
try to
quest
take
here.
me again, I'll give them something to worry about for a change.
Like, it would be nice, certainly, if you could.
Anything for you, man. What do you need?
If you could equip these
Well,
guys, give them
watch
guns,
yourself
give them
out
better
there.
armor, make them your little pet
Remember
project.
to keep it- Hi there. Can I help you? Whenever those things come, they grab a few people. There's
Just exhaust all the dialogue. Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's anything
made it
else
another
that you
day.
can do. Where's Dusty? Right. First things first. I believe this guy just threw a grenade at me. So you can't leave this area except for that one direction. And SentryBot has decided that I'm a valid enemy. I don't know if he got shot. Did we aggro everybody? There's a Protectron. Yeah, I don't even know what we're really looking for here. It would probably do them well to crucify these bodies and put them up as warnings to other super mutants. Major crippled. Another super mutant, which does mean I potentially am gonna hit the Protectron and get it mad at me. I've gained karma. Yay. Where's
I didn't think that'd work.
Where's Dusty?
We did it! You did it! You helped us defeat the mutants! Oh, we'll all feel safer now. Thank you so much. Thanks again for saving my life at the police station.
We're still alive?
Like, where's the other guy, though? There was a guy that was here in armor, and he now just seems like he's totally missing.
It's the hero of Big Town. I hate it here.
Remember to keep an eye on the north.
Right.
I'm starting to feel safe.
So, yeah,
What the hell? Oh, it's you.
Pappy feels like
Got
he's the
to
guy in
admit, I
charge.
didn't think you were one of the good ones, but what the hell? Who am I kidding? At least I didn't die today. Most of us have a crappy. What the hell? Have a good one.
Pappy is happier now. Like, he was getting really negative by dating. What's her name? Yeah, it seems like you could just crawl through here. Bittercup. And Bittercup would be the last character we would want to talk to.
How long are we gonna last?
You're right.
Remember to keep an eye on the north.
Keep an eye on the north. Probably is just a slogan, like an anti-Canadian slogan.
I was starting to think that Big Town wasn't a very good place to live. But now I think we can do it. Thanks to you. Well, I remember.
Alright. Yeah, talking to Sticky. Didn't do anything. Where are you hiding, Bittercup? Where were you hiding?
At least watch the wastes.
Just trying to exhaust all of this.
All right. Plenty to.
Just really don't care what they have to say. Just am desperate to find more game in this alleged game. Did Bittercup disappear? Did she crawl off somewhere to kill herself? In the middle of the whole fight.
Along, please.
Did she drastically change her appearance? Possibly.
Hello.
You know, a dark-skinned character being named Kimba, I feel like is probably a mistake too. First of all, because Kimba is would be African for lion.
All I need is
I believe.
some incense sticks and candles.
I think it's Kimba, and that's where like Simba from the Lion King also came from. So maybe it's Simba. Not sure. But then there's also an anime, Kimba the White Lion, which that's going to be weird too. It's not like any of the other weird names for these characters really have that much of a
When I
Yep. So there's no more dialogue to have with her, unfortunately. So you can't date the 16-year-old, which is probably a good thing, but
This place gets worse all the time.
apparently you did create her, create an infatuation in her for you, and they didn't gender it, so I guess that's kind of interesting, but I don't think there's really anything special to say about that. It almost feels like there's probably something in this square. I would suspect when you see how a lot of items are within one square, that would make sense, but then you can zoom in and zoom out, so you could always make the square bigger or smaller to follow that rule. So what I want to do is, like, undoubtedly there is some things we missed here. If we go here, we can run down here to Fort Bannister, and then we can check out Girder Shade, and if Girder Shade and Fort Bannister doesn't give us any new quest, then we go back to Little Lamplight, and if that doesn't give us a new quest, then we have literally no other options at that point but then to play the game, the main story. It really feels like, though, that these kinds of quests should lead to other quests. They should give you a longer journey, that every single quest should have you going to at least 3 different locations and really discovering new things and talking to new people. And when you do discover and talk to new people, it should be interesting, like automatic conversation dialogue, and not just, oh, well, you can ask the same 5 questions to the same 10 people and get the same generic answers, but none of that information is going to really matter. Alright. Just work our way around here until we find a Talon Merc. Seriously, just so far away that not really doing any damage. good thing, I guess, about fighting super mutants, though, is you don't run into a you don't run into picking up a lot of garbage. I saw a meme picture where somebody became addicted to eating pork and beans in Fallout 4. I don't quite understand that. Where are you? Oh. Town company guard dog. Such a gory game. I don't know if you can really get addicted to eating pork and beans in this game because it's not really a drug, and I wouldn't be surprised if you actually can't get addicted even in Fallout 4 and it was just some kind of joke or mod they made. And see, if the Brotherhood of Steel is supposed to have connections to the original US military, then this fort being in the hands of the Talon Company probably does not sit well with them. Alright. Yeah, and at this point I've stopped even trying to have the repair outfit. There's just no reason to have it. My repair stats, I think, are either at 100 or close enough to 100 that it stops. That's not a problem. And it's definitely a lot easier to just run through something like this. And yeah. We can just drop some stuff too. This is really how it should have been the whole time, is that you could have just hit the repair button and not even cared about what you were holding on to and just drop things really fast. But it doesn't quite work that way. You're still going through 4 different menus, which is fairly ridiculous. I'm questioning whether there's an actual, shouldn't have picked that up, like actual fort that you can interact with here, or if it is just going to be tents. I could see running out of time and budget and just saying, alright, we're going to blow up the fort and just have tents where Fort Bannister once was. Well, that did not play well. Where is the guy? Missile launcher. It's probably a great indication of how even with like a laser gun or a missile launcher, when you're at this far distances, it just doesn't matter. And I have to wonder if maybe because I have higher resolution on and just better graphics, if these enemies aren't seeing me from further away than they should. I could see this potentially have being a much different experience if enemies had to get way closer to you before they even started to notice you were there. An empty footlocker hidden. Well, we found Fort Bannister. Doesn't really look like there's anything here, though. Let's see. Yeah, let's look at the local map. And let's go, I guess, in this just general direction. Yeah. Unless there is a door underground here, or a sewer entrance, or something. Just stop picking up things in general. I would argue there is definitely a potential that single-handedly the Fallout 3 created the hate and the negative reactions around being over-encumbered. In all fairness, I don't think people loved it before then. But this game gives you such negative feedback for picking up things while definitely trying to force you to pick up things, and definitely encouraging just the worst of OCD behavior, obsessive behavior in players, which, yeah, I probably wasn't much of even an obsessive player until I played Fallout 3 originally. If there was one game to blame, it is this game. Yeah, well, alright. It's kind of crazy you can target the weapons. Like, why would you want to damage a weapon? Like, there's no benefit or value in... These guys have fairly powerful laser guns. Yeah. Unless there's just an entire gameplay mechanic I'm unfamiliar with that I never saw. Like, just coming out of every direction. I'm getting wrecked here because I'm concussed and people are shooting me from different directions. Where's the guy? This is too small of a neighborhood, an area to be shooting off those kinds of weapons. It's like that guy has the exact same face model as the other guy that I was just shooting. I don't know if that was a glitch or if that is supposed to just be some kind of weird twist that we see because we are concussed. Over encumbered again with the missile launcher. Yeah, probably would have been a smart move to get rid of some of these weapons. We still really don't do anything with the other stuff. I guess I had a radiation suit. When did I pick that one up? So I suspect if so many people are going to have attacked me from this location that we may not find too much going on here. As far as other enemies. Let's see, this one, repair. Get that back up to a much better state. Yeah, we may just find some small offset buildings here instead of a full dungeon. And yeah, I'm still getting the crick in my neck. Yeah, I don't know how to fix it. I basically need to be in traction or something. Things that the emergency people would put around your neck, the ambulance people, something like that. I guess I could also simply just try and lean back more. Well, it doesn't seem like they're targeting anything, so let's just go ahead and deactivate it for our own sanity. Is there anything here worth looking for? Oh, this is going to be all over the place, I think. As far as looking for things when really we don't have anything we're actually looking for. So, yeah, I suspect we go down here, maybe we find a door. This is kind of an interesting wall design, but it only kind of makes sense if you're yeah, if you were trying to make more of a small. Did I activate a tripwire? So I guess that's why none of these ever activate, is I just never step on the panels. So I'm suspecting what's going to happen here is we're going to wrap around this whole area and find that both branching paths end up going to the same place. And that there's actually very little here otherwise. This does kind of feel like the location where the raiders would be using as their base. Right. So yeah, we've gone full circle. It all goes to that one door. There's a turret somewhere that I disarmed, but I never saw it, so it would have been an opportunity to kill something for a few more XP. But it doesn't really matter. Commanding officers' quarters. Alright, let's see. Yeah. One, two, three. One.
Hello.
While we're at it, we'll hack this. We're still looking for XP. Like, that's really the only thing that matters. So it's not that. It's not that. It's not that. Took a guess. Just trying to save time here. It's just... yeah. Hopefully the DLC will actually play all of it and not burn out, which that is a possibility. I don't feel like I'm quite to that point, but it could happen certainly, where I just don't actually finish the DLC. But my other hope would be that in doing the DLC they will just give us some more difficult enemies, and in getting more difficult enemies we don't run into the same issues. Yeah, to wait for something like that's not worth holding on to. Drop that, tear that. Even dropping that is fine. It's not even like we have a lot of suits that we picked up. It is more than likely the 19 pounds of strange meat that we just need to go to Megaton to get rid of. And purified water. And Nuka-Cola Quantums. Dirty water, 7 pounds of dirty water. Just to drop. Blood packs, drop those. And it's not even like we have a lot of heavy items otherwise. Some pre-war books. Some pre-war money. Some tin cans we can drop. Some scrap metal. And for the half a dozen times you can hack these turret controls, it doesn't seem like you ever get a good visual of that. Like, clearly these should just be scripted events where it shows you a shows you a cutscene, and the cutscene 100% just, oops, leaned on the controller there. Well, I guess we know computers are now bulletproof. Yeah, I don't even know where the turret is. Commander Jabsco. So he's a named bad guy. Alright, we got a lot of people here. This is gonna be a problem. I don't know why they all seem to have exactly the same face on them, though. It's almost like they're clones. Come on. I feel like the gun is jamming. I'm probably getting stunned by the laser guns, if I was to guess. Boy, does it feel like it would have been better to use the turret on that. Alright, we are crippled all over. Alright, well, first and foremost, guess I'll take a laser rifle. I will take this key. I'll take missile launchers. I will take Occam's razor. And seems like it's just standard metal armor and a Talon combat helmet we may not have gotten before. Take a laser rifle and bullets. We are slowly trying to work our way to being potentially good with the energy weapons. Now, if that's the commander, it might be a sub-commander or a captain, something else. Something else that we may have to contend with. This definitely does feel like a attempt at a bigger boss room, the boss battle area. But what do we find here? I thought I disarmed that. But apparently not. Bottle caps. That. Stim packs. Yeah, unless we were supposed to get them the police baton and the clipboard. Feels like there really wasn't a reward in that. And it kind of feels like maybe normally there would be some kind of item that you would have to collect, but because we don't have even a quest to tell us to go to this location, we're just never going to be told to go and collect that item, and instead it's just going to say, okay, you did the quest. you killed everybody. We already know you killed everybody, so we're not going to make you wander back through a empty dungeon. Yeah, there's just nothing in there. And again, I kind of wonder if the raiders were supposed to be communicating, making drugs, being a lot more organized than I thought. The Talon Company in particular, though, we knew they were organized, so this is not the raiders. And maybe they wanted there to be more of a specific and obvious difference between the Talon Company and raiders, and that's why we don't see any evidence of being organized. Let's see what else is down here. I'm just looking for things, so I very potentially just walked into a room where somebody's gonna start shooting at me. We may have a quest to get junk food, or we may not. We have a very watery section. And that's a Mark 1 turret, and we've seen Mark 3 turrets. That's a Mark 5 turret. Maybe the other one was a Mark 5 too. I kind of wonder if there isn't... They're just putting numbers on the turrets to indicate how good or how much damage a turret will do. This is irradiated water, but we may have to go into the irradiated water to go further in this dungeon. Either that, or there is nowhere else to go, and it is already been cleared out. Man, this local map. Bunker, Capital Wasteland. Well, we obviously haven't been here. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. So their pathfinding was just really, really bad. And they were probably wandering into a corner. All these guys have so much damage reduction because they have basically the same armor that I'm wearing. Notice how I'm not even putting the reticle on the guy and I just killed him there. I'm gonna take a couple of this. Well, I didn't actually kill him, did I? Beers. Don't have a lot of those. And it just totally does not matter. Yeah. Totally does not matter one bit if I use a stem pack. Like arguably maybe you should be able to become addicted to stem packs. And then there might be something around that idea. Alright. So there's just a lot of beds and the music stopped playing, so I kind of wonder. It's if there isn't anybody left. This is a little too complicated of a level for its own good. Particularly since we know that it's just a lot going on here. Ooh, this is a straight up missile. It looks like ICBM. That may very well have been the ICBM I already shot. If that was the case, then you can see that's a Mark 7 turret. And it is taking more to kill it. Really are all over the place. More computers. More people. Definitely. Laser rifle. Laser rifle does like 200 damage. Nah, it's not 200 damage that it does. It does 19 damage, which is way, way below 50. Who's shooting at me? Yeah. More than likely, this isn't going to just end in a dead end. Best case scenario is that this will go to the capital wasteland. I have no idea where these people are coming from. Let's see, back to being concussed, and then trying to get our Chinese assault rifle back to good shape. It seems to be taking a lot more damage lately. Although, I guess in all fairness, I almost am getting the feeling that this might be a case of the game just infinitely spawning mercenaries. Let me just check. This is not a door. The customization of people's facial features really falls apart at this point. It's fairly obvious that they only pre-made maybe a dozen faces for the Talon marks, and they are getting overused now that we have to really fight. A whole bunch of them. Right. Local map. Bunker. Door to the wasteland. Let's check the water. Like, I really don't know if there's more to this. It feels like there would be more to this. It doesn't just feel like this should be... Right. Is there something here? Yeah. Doesn't look like it. Right. This, what it feels like is that this direction is just kind of the nice central location. So you could have potentially come in from the Capital Wasteland, or you could have come in through the bunker. And if there was like a quest to come back here and kill everybody and I somehow missed one guy, that would kind of suck. So I would hope that they would never do that, and I don't think they would. This game has been really pathetic as far as giving us quests. It would be very easy to have number procedurally generated quests, or just straight up said, hey, there's 5 more Talon people in this dungeon, find them and kill them. Or even in the overworld, if they were to say there's 5 more Talon company people in this region, find them and kill them, that would work too. Yeah. I feel like there could be more Talon company people that would just spawn. But yeah, it definitely feels like Fort Bannister has been searched as much as possible. So let's make a trip over to Megaton, since we haven't even had to do that too often. Yes. And we're going to have to barely do a lot here. Move all of our rads. Come on. That shouldn't have been that hard. Great new compounds, because we might as well use this. I don't think we found any bobbleheads. And I think as far as items, we can kind of just drop items here without trying to build things up. That one, that one, that one. Radiation suit we should think about. Is there anything like this advanced radiation suit? Potentially we could repair that and have a radiation resistant of 40 instead of that. Roving traveler outfit. Talon combat helmet. Wastelander wanderer outfit. Alright, and then we were specifically to look at weapons. Chinese officer sword is already at max, so we can sell that. Fat man. We need to take a flamer. We need to take laser pistol. We'll take laser rifles. We'll take missile launchers. We'll fix one up. Occam's razor we'll keep. Rolling pin we'll keep. Do we have a scoped 44 Magnum? Yeah. Need to sell that. Do we have a silenced 10mm pistol? No, because it doesn't matter. We can sell the sniper rifle also. Okay. Repair the fat man. Repair the flamer. Repair that. Sell all those. Hmm. Right. Weapon. Sell the officer's sword. Keep the fat man. Keep the flamer. Keep one of the laser rifles. Sell the other two. Sell the missile launchers. Sell the scoped. Sell the silenced pistol. Sell the sniper rifle. Right. Come over here. And we'll start looking at the things to hold on to. Let's see. Blood packs. Dirty water. Junk food. Nuka-Cola Quantums. Purified water. Stealth boys. All that strange meat. All the sugar bombs. Because I feel like at this point we'll probably just pick up everything and sell it if we needed money, or if we found something that would let us trade that. We found this Paradise Lost book and never found any use for that either. It's funny we have strange meat and human flesh, but I know they're both the same thing. And we also have that food sanitizer, which would make food better, but it's not worth 7 weight to carry around. Remember when we were collecting all these empty soda bottles and empty Nuka-Cola bottles? I feel like I had way more than 38 empty bottles. Like maybe the game is even cheating me out of my own items because it recognizes that there's too much in the inventory. More death claws. More pre-war books. Scrap metal teddy bear. Yeah, we did. We had empty soda bottles, 126 here. And we have just a ton of stuff. No scrap metal? No? Okay. So, I think the only thing we were going to try and do is fix the advanced radiation suit, which we can't. So, go ahead and put that back and sell this one. Sleep a couple hours.
Things are going well for you today, madam.
Get that well-rested bonus. Turn in the scrapbooks, scrap metal, turn in the books. Sell a bunch of stuff if we can to Moira. And there was a point here where I was going to be very ambitious and try and talk to every single person in Megaton. There is definitely a possibility that there's a quest or two in Megaton that I have just not found because I haven't talked to people.
Yeah, what is it? Well, all right. Let me count out
72 XP.
Well, back to work.
It's still kind of worth it, even though it probably has added at least an hour of gameplay to this game by collecting all the scrap metal. We've gotten I would estimate
Oh, hey.
at least
Kinda busy
600
here,
XP.
but I guess I can...
Repair that.
Abs.
Does she have ever more than just like one bobby pin? Was I supposed to keep one of these missile launchers? I will. And that's all the coins you can give me. So unless she had something else of interest, just buy a bunch of stim packs, buy Psycho, and or buy a bunch of things that don't have weight to them, like pencils, or buy a bunch of ammo. Whatever. We're up to 1,200 or 12,000
Good hunting.
caps anyways. So unless there was a in-game scenario where I absolutely needed 15,000 caps or something, some ridiculously high number like that, I still think we have more caps than we would ever need, and that's what the game
Welcome
said
back.
is
Have you been
eventually
successful in your search for
you
books?
would hit that point, but it took way too
Excellent.
much time.
How many are you willing to trade?
Let's just take all the books I
Very
have.
well. Here is your reward.
Another 1,000
Use
battle
it well,
caps, another
return with more
110
books when you
XP.
can. Steel be with you.
That's still worth it too. It's a shame though that there isn't more like that. Right. So there's seemingly nothing here that we found when there definitely should be things here. So the easiest thing to do is just go to this location. Let's see how well we can take out a feral roamer. 6 XP and not really a challenge. Alright. So we're at Warrington train station and we want to go to Girder Shade and check that out. And then back to Little Lamplight. Otherwise, I think for the most part, we've been kind of everywhere. Except for the DLC locations. Like, I think we've kind of been everywhere and done everything. I don't... Like, we've been to a lot of places and not known what we were doing or why we were doing it, but we've kind of, I think, done what was there to do, and very often there was very little there to do. Aggroed this guy. You can definitely tell that this lower left section of the map is the ghoul section of the map. The underground would be, I guess, a place that we could go back to, because there was still that quest potentially to kill Greta, even though I don't really want to kill Greta, to free the other guy. And I guess because I read what happens in that story, I can spoil that if I do free the other guy who's been brainwashed to be a slave for the bartender in the underworld, the first thing he'll do is kill the bartender. So not only are you effectively killing Greta, but you're killing the bartender. And the bartender kind of tells you that. I'm glad we don't run into a lot of situations like this where it's kind of difficult to get up there. I have to do a little parkouring there, more than what they expected you to have to do. But these don't lead particularly to like power stations or even guaranteed transmitter towers. I see what they're doing here, and the idea definitely is to potentially follow the roads to find things, potentially follow the power lines to find things. And it does work somewhat well, but not well enough. There's still way too much emptiness throughout this entire world. There's like a bloatfly and a yogui all together. Either that's just because I am very high level, or this was scripted so there'd be a bunch of things right next to each other, or they've... Yeah, it would either have to be scripted so that we ran into all those things at the same time, or I'm just very high level and all of a sudden the game is going to try and throw every kind of creature it can throw at me at once. We saw one other shop like this where it's just a small thing. Ball cap mine improved once again. So kind of worth it to get an improved schematic, but not a lot here. A very quiet, very empty room. It definitely feels like you could have just knocked this door out and the room could have been there. Could have been a non-load section. That's something, if you were going to remaster this game, you'd try to do a lot of. Just get rid of doors, get rid of loading. There doesn't need to be a door there, even if it was instantaneous loading, because of a better engine and faster SSD or anything like that. Just everything truly being in the same open world. Not having to search inside of file cabinets, instead just seeing the equivalent of the same items on the floor next to a file cabinet is something I would appreciate. Well, the good news is I do see that there's a unfilled in triangle here. So, if we didn't want to take the perk that told us what to do, then we could definitely if we didn't want to take the perk that filled in everything in the map, we could just fast travel to every location, do a spin around, look for the one unfilled in location that's that way, and then the one unfilled in location that's that way. I don't think I ever figured that out when I played this game the first time either. Yeah. When I was playing Fallout 3 originally, I was working pretty long hours at a pretty exhausting, mentally draining job, so I wouldn't be surprised if I was effectively just dumbed down by quite a bit and not paying attention to what I was doing. I was kind of expecting Girder Shade to be much more than just a cow, a Brahmin, and a couple of houses. Let's see. She's running away from me. Look at all these Nuka-Colas.
Well, hey there, stranger.
Let's take out this Mr. Gusty first. And then... Are there any other enemies? Nope, but it killed the Brahmin. But you don't get too many Brahmin steaks throughout this game. You pretty much have to kill a Brahmin to get a Brahmin steak. Let's see. So, we have a whole bunch of stuff that we could steal. And a guy that's missing. And let's... Like, one of these people was the one that wanted the sexy underwear, I think.
Sierra Petrova's the name. Good to see a new face in Girder Shade. I take
Kinda
it you're
Russian
here to check
name.
out my Nuka-Cola collection and take the tour.
Nuka collection? Wow.
I have one of the best Nuka-Cola collection in the Capital Wasteland. Heck, I've won the Nuka-Cola Fan Club Collection Award for the last 10 years in a row.
There's a Nuka-Cola Fan Club. Again, this feels like a quest that they should have given you at the very beginning of the game for as much Nuka-Cola as we've run into.
Yep, I'm the president, the recording secretary, and the treasurer.
And again,
Once a
it's
year, we gather
comedic,
here in
but
Girder
you have to
Shade
get
have a cook-off
to
using
very
Nuka-Cola and a
specific
recipe.
spots
Last year, I went with my poached roach and
to
Nuka sauce.
find a comedic
Delicious.
character, and arguably too many of the comedic characters have been female.
Well, only 2 right now, me and Ronald. But membership is open to the public. You can join if you like.
Who's Ronald?
Ronald? Oh, I'm sorry. I figured you met him already. He usually chats with people who enter Girder Shade. He's my neighbor and my protector, as he calls it. Imagine if some nasty raider wanted to take my stuff. He'd show them a thing or two. He's such a sweetie. You should talk to him.
Let's see. Tell me more about this. This feels like another potential romance where you get 2 characters together.
He's a darling, always watching out for me, and more importantly, keeping the collection safe. Like once, there were these raiders that came by. There were 3 of them, and their leader was named, like, Lugnut or something.
So, Lugnut, I think we killed many, many hours ago.
So they, like, kicked in Ronald's door, and he was like, blam, with his gun, and one of them got all splattered. Then the other one tried to, like, hit him all in his head with some club. And Ronald was so cool how he dodged it and shot the guy in the face. Then the Lugnut guy was in Ronald's face with the "I'll kick your ass" stuff, and Ronald was like, hell no, and he punched the... Oh, sorry. I get carried away sometimes.
And see, you could
Well, you
definitely
should
do the
definitely talk to
rambling
Ronald.
joke a lot
I bet he'd
more
like to meet you.
if
He's
you
such a
didn't have to
sweetheart.
hit A.
I sure did. Want to take it now? How can you
Sure.
resist? This stuff is so cool. Well, come on then. Let me show you around. But no free Nuka-Cola until the end of the tour.
Okay. The Nuka-Cola challenge.
When Nuka-Cola was invented by John Caleb Bratterton in 2044, it quickly became the world's most popular soft drink.
Interesting. So I just don't know when the war happened. These years seem really weird, but they could be. This could all be misinformation. She just may not know.
Dedicated following, which prompted the Nuka-Cola Corporation to release many promotional items like these.
Cool.
By 2067, a Nuka-Cola machine such as this rare, pristine model could be found on almost every street in America.
So it's almost like the war happened like 100 years in the future from the time this game was released, and the 1940s mentality
Even in today's crazy world,
was maybe just a
Nuka-Cola is still the
visual
#1 choice of
aesthetic
refreshment among
or
Armageddon
facade.
survivors. As promised, here's a little pick-me-up. An ice-cold Nuka-Cola. Just look at the frost on the bottle. So cold and delicious. Pardon me. I tend to lose myself when I hold on to a Nuka-Cola. Before I get to the little proposition I have for you, let me tell you a little bit about Nuka-Cola Quantum.
Okay.
Well, right before the bombs fell, the good folks at Nuka-Cola developed what they hoped was an improvement on the original formula. Calling it Nuka-Cola Quantum. It was said to have twice the calories, twice the carbohydrates, twice the caffeine, and twice the taste. Well, the flavor certainly wasn't the issue. The public was just split on the unique feature of the Quantum's appearance. You see, to make it stand out on store shelves and to give it that extra kick, the formula called for a mild isotope. The effect was a drink that not only boosted your energy, but also glowed with a bright blue light.
Which really there should have just been broken quantums all over the place, because then you could have had glowing Nuka-Cola Quantum trails all over the place, or just glowing radioactive blood.
Oh no, only ever so mildly. No ill effects were ever recorded. Well, it does have the unique property of making your pee glow. I love the stuff. I can't get enough of it. I thought I was hooked on regular Nuka-Cola, but the Quantum beats it by a long shot. I've got to have more.
So she's gonna
That's right.
tell me
You
to bring her
Nuka-Cola
Quantum.
Quantum, and I pay you handsomely, I might add. For every bottle you bring me, I pay you some caps. You know, for expenses. But if you're super cool and find like enough bottles to fill my Nuka-Cola machine, 30 in all, I've got a super secret cool prize for you.
I may very well have less than 30 Quantums, but I may also have more.
Oh, okay. I have a schematic for the Nuka grenade, the only one in the whole capital wasteland. Bring me the bottles, and it's yours. Imagine the look on the target's face when they are burning alive in an effervescent explosion of cola and fruit flavors.
So yeah, if this
what
is
do you
the
say?
only
Will you
one
bring me the
in the
bottles?
entire game,
Oh, goody! I can taste the Quantum already.
why is this
Good
so
luck to you,
incredibly far in the corner? Do you know someone named Grady?
Nope. Sorry.
Interesting.
Well, to the east, there are some nasty raiders in Evergreen Mills. I'd stay away from there if I were you.
We missed that.
Luckily, we're kind of hidden here under the old highway, so no one bothers us.
So we get another map marker.
I don't know a whole lot about weapons, but I do know that it's more powerful than a regular grenade.
But you would
And it
just never
explodes
use
in a
grenades
huge
in this
blue
game.
flame, too. How cool
You
is
should
that?
have like a mapped grenade launching button if we were going to use grenades.
Well, besides what I've already told you, not much. They were working on a way to prevent the glow from remaining once it passed through a person's system, but it was never perfected. I heard that the stuff they use to make it glow and give it that kick has a shelf life of over 1,000 years. Should make the bottles easier to spot.
Here we have a medicine option.
Well, I guess so. I heard that sometimes the radiation would remain in people's systems, but only in a few test cases. All you need is a little rat away, and poof, the isotope is gone.
So that medicine option.
Oh my! It's like a tidal wave of flavor.
Just like exhausting all the dialogue here.
Your head spins, but everything is clear at the same time. It's quite a rush.
See, it feels like you should have her as a character be hyper and talk faster than everyone. Always.
Well, the bottles are glass, just like regular Nuka-Cola, except that way.
Yeah, we'll just go.
Addicted? Why would you say that? I can stop drinking it anytime I want. That's so silly to think I would get hooked on the most delicious soft drink ever devised by man. Okay, shoot.
Okay, is there anything else I have to do?
In fact, I do. Surprised you, didn't I? Your best bet would be to find the ruins of the DC Nuka-Cola bottling facility. Find the shipping manifests inside. With them in hand, you should have a good clue as to where the Quantum was delivered. While you're there, you may even be able to find some bottles of Quantum.
Now there is a perk that will turn 10 bottles of Nuka-Cola
Yay! I knew I could
into
count on
Quantum.
you. I promised to put them to good use.
So 1 Nuka-Cola Quantum removed. And I was given 40 caps. So maybe that was 40.
It's locked for a reason. Don't get any ideas.
As far as this quest, recover 30 bottles of Nuka-Cola Quantum. Seems like we've given her 4.
So, who might you be, and what brings you out to our little paradise?
Now Ronald's back. Let's see.
That's all, huh? Better be. Because I warn you, I don't like anyone messing around with my woman. Well, that's likely because it's none of anyone's business but ours. But hey, she's a fine-looking lady. I mean,
This might be yet another example where you have a bad man mistreating women in this game, which gets used, gets repeated a little bit too much.
Wow, you are as naive as you look. How do I put it? I'd love to do the horizontal bop with her, you know, plow her bean field. Come on, kid.
Let's see. Can't say I blame you.
Now you're speaking my language. Well, only problem is she won't give it up for me. That's where you come into the picture.
Sounds interesting going on.
I know she's asked you to find her some Nuka-Cola Quantum. Heck, she asks everyone that wanders through here. What I'm proposing is you still look for the drinks, but instead of bringing it to her, you bring it to me. She'll be so impressed that I got all the Nuka-Cola for her. She'll melt in my arms like butter. I pay you the same she was going to pay, and everyone's happy.
Let's see, how about... Ooh, go for a threesome. Interesting. You find the quantum, and we'll make it a threesome. Let's go with speech check first.
You devious bastard. I didn't figure you were that clever. All right, double it is. Just bring me those bottles. If I have to listen to Sierra ramble on any longer, I think I'll blow my brains out. So you gonna do it or what?
Let's see.
Holy shit. Are you for real? Hell yeah. I'm off to find you some quantum then, and I know right where to go.
So is this guy dead? Don't know if that's what I wanted to do, but I feel like I've just caused this guy to run away from me and potentially die. I guess we can follow him and see where he ends up. But we may have to do that later, because we've already gone 3 hours. But let's just see which way he's going. Seems to me like he's probably...
Where? Yeah? You want some of this? Sorry, darling, I'm on a mission. Let me go, beautiful. I'm gonna go get us some quantum.
Interesting. So yeah, it seems like he's running to a place I haven't been to before. Maybe this building here. And so either I'm gonna have to... Now I'm the escort quest. Which I want to probably go check in here and just see what's going on. We have more raiders. Paint guns, sugar bombs, whole bunch of other stuff. Bottle caps, stems. Yeah, why am I even bothering to pick up stim packs at this point? Scrap metal, still worth picking up. Yeah, and at this point it does kind of feel like this is just a power station. We may have lost our guy. because I chose to leave, I don't think I can follow him wherever he went. So we're either going to find his dead body somewhere, or we'll just never find his dead body. Yeah, if we do a spin around here, it is very much just like, oh, that's not going to work. A power station. He could have been going here to kind of anything, anywhere. And just for sanity check, we'll see if we have Nuka-Cola Quantum.
Welcome home, madam.
Let's see. The sexy underwear is the real question, though. Ah, yeah. We got 50 of them. Okay. Sleep. 1 hour. Fast travel to Garter Shade. And we'll see if we can find Ronald. He can make it back to his own house. Let's see, maybe wait 24 hours. I'm kind of happy that they don't like yell at you for being in a building when it's past time for that. But yeah, the whole day-night cycle still is not really worth it. I would probably balance it to so that there was about 4 hours, the equivalent to 4 hours that happened in the game engine that were at nighttime, and then I would have it be much closer to, we'll give it another 24 hours, I guess. 20 hours are mostly in bright light, and dawn and dusk probably should be an hour each. So maybe 18 hours of full bright light, 1 hour for dawn, 1 hour for dusk, 4 hours of actual nighttime. Of course, that would ruin the whole system that was here as far as Is this guy dead? Nope, it still would be stealing from him. So I suspect he is dead. Like, it would be really weird for it to take more than 48 hours for him to go find a Nuka-Cola Quantum and then come back. And we've already gone in and outside of doors, so it's not like we had a hard save to undo that option. But that's fine. I don't think the guy was particularly as good of a guy as he seemed. I guess the test here would be to see if he has something that we could lose karma for stealing. Because if he's truly dead, we theoretically should not lose karma for that. Doesn't really even have anything worth taking. There you go. Lost karma. By the way, what is our karma at? Since we haven't really hadn't needed to pay attention to it. I'm basically a saint. I should have taken the caps. Though. So, if we wander around enough of the wasteland, I suspect we will maybe find his body.
The taste that'll knock you out. If
Yeah.
you're here with some quantum, I have caps with your name on them.
Yeah.
Well, the DC facility was like their main factory just before the bombs fell. All the research they did was performed there. It was the only facility to ever produce quantum. They were in a test market mode, and they would have expanded production if the drink caught on. Too bad they didn't. Otherwise, quantum would be as plentiful as regular Nuka-Cola.
So she's giving us information. Let's go with this choice.
He has? Oh, that's sweetheart. I knew he'd help me. All that guy does is watch out for me all the time.
No, I just think he wants to get into your pants.
That's so silly. Why would a man want to wear a pair of these filthy woman's pants? Doesn't make sense. I bet you and him cooked up that line just to make me smile. Well, mission accomplished.
So she's just completely not aware of it. Have the last of the quantum?
You've done it. My machine is finally full. Well, like I promised, here's the schematic for the Nuka grenade. You've sure earned it. If you find any more bottles, be sure and bring them by. I'll be glad to keep paying for them.
So she gives me a schematic, gives me 300 XP. I gained karma. We have an improved schematic, so I did have that schematic already. Okay. Getting 15 more big guns would be fine. Medicine should be at 100. We already have the medicine bobblehead. We already have the big guns bobblehead too, so we could get that up. Repair. I don't think we need to do anything more with repair. Explosives will leave. Yeah, we can get straight up to 75 on energy weapons, which puts us in a nice position where, like, unless there were some dialogue choices for increasing barter higher, that probably wouldn't be a priority. Melee weapons, probably not a priority. There is a potential here now. We only have like 10 more level ups and 2 more for the main game, so we may just want to pull the trigger and get repair up to 100% too, instead of getting energy weapons up to 75%. But we'll stick with that. And at level 20, do we have anything new? Every location on the map is revealed to you, so get out there and explore. Can't take that quite yet. We need to take the Grim Reaper Spirit. That is way better. Being solar powered at level 20 is not really worth it. Concentrated fire accuracy, it's not really worth it. This clearly is the one thing that you probably would have wanted to start the game with as just a default stat. She took 50 Nuka-Cola Quantums and gave me 20 XPs. And I guess if we were going to try and lock this, let's just see. New save. Yeah, all that's in here is some ice cold Nuka-Cola Quantums. Interesting. And that would require a key. You could steal a whole bunch of Nuka-Colas here. She saw me though. So if we're gonna do that, then we might as well have to figure out where the key would be. It doesn't seem like it's on her. Why is she immortal? This, I think, is a fairly more natural way in which you could go the bad guy route. To just have a whole bunch of health available to you. To start with. But you still would need a key for that. So you wouldn't be able to get those Nuka-Cola Quantums out. Yeah. For a bad guy route, if at the very beginning you chose to just kill this lady and rob her, that would be the benefit there, certainly. 2 rads plus 10 HP, though, is not really worth that much, even if you had a whole bunch of them. Right. So you have a Nikola Tesla on you, which increases energy weapons. We could now bring any more quantums we find, which the game definitely is showing you that there are more than just the 30 she wants in the game. I don't think Ronald is ever coming back, which is probably a good thing. If anything, I may have made the world safer because he was doing something creepy with either this. I don't think it was the sexy sleepwear. I think it was the naughty nightwear, and I may have actually sold that. And kind of doesn't matter. Either way, we'd have to check the notes. So, a Nuka-Cola Quantum, a tin can turpentine, and Abrax. We also have improved versions of the bottle cap mine, but it uses more bottle caps. Interesting. If we scrolled like way down here. Let's see. Yeah, and very few of these recordings are actually recordings. As far as audio recordings, which that definitely feels like that's a whole system that should have been like that really feels like a whole system that should have been eliminated. I don't know if these notes are in chronological order. Because it doesn't feel like they really are. Yeah, it's not really worth it to try and go through all of this. It feels like it's in order. Maybe it wasn't a note at all. Maybe it was something on a computer screen. I guess that is a possibility. Radio signals still happening all over the place. DLC quests still happening all over the place. Evergreen Mills would be, I guess, the last place for us to check out before we are gonna just have to go to the main story and just move the main story forward. And it kind of feels like if you were allowed to play this game like I've played it, really trying very hard to avoid doing the main story, it feels like there should be a fairly dramatic shift to the overworld, that we should bring back the Enclave, bring back the Brotherhood of Steel. Anywhere we go, we should start seeing really stronger enemies. And I don't know if we really get that or not. Yeah. And I am a little iffy certainly on these skills where there might be a case where there's a dialogue for barter, or for even having explosives at 100, or having repair at 100, or even having sneak up to 100. Getting everything up to 50 would probably be nice, at the very least. A ton of these perks really haven't done much for us. I don't think we even checked to see if we could have done Strength Matters again for another 15 points. Overall, we've only done 21 quests. And so there's 22 levels in the game. It's almost exactly on the nose that one quest equals one level, with a lot of grinding in between. We've discovered 105 locations. I bet there's less than 130 in total. As far as people we've killed, I think 291 is maybe a little low, but might be right on the nose. But there are other things, such as Kim's Taken and Times Addicted, that are just not really within the very good last best hope of humanity category as far as karma. That now, I don't really understand why I got karma by giving her Quantum. We picked no pockets. We've exploded no pants. We've read 95 books. I wouldn't be surprised if there's almost 100 books on the nose. We've missed probably a few bobbleheads and just missed them in corners, because we know there should be, I think, 32. We found 6. Maybe there's 24, but it's kind of a pathetically small amount. We don't have the perk to do Sandman kills. We maybe don't have the perk to do paralyzing punches. We don't have the perk to disable robots. As far as contracts and corpse eating, we don't have those perks. The mysterious stranger has visited 15 times, so he's not really a skill worth taking at all. Anyways, we've gone very long here, nearly 3 hours and 30 minutes, so that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.